Successful Escapes, number 6. Hello, I'm HG Tudor, continuing to provide you with tales of inspiration, whereby people have escaped ensnarement and found freedom as a consequence of the use of my work. We now turn to Andrea, who's from the United Kingdom, who's asked that I narrate her contribution. She writes as follows. HG changed my life. Would not be an entirely correct evaluation of my case. More accurately, HG halted and reversed the negative changes in my life brought on by various narcissists. He provided the knowledge, the tools, and the no-nonsense feedback which were crucial to a number of successful escapes in personal and professional spheres. After 4 years of accessing a variety of his services, my marriage is now stronger and happier. I am a much better mum, my financial situation is in order, and my business is stable and protected. All this without wearing the victim hood, see what I did there, finding healthy outlets for my empathic qualities, and still exercising my numerous narcissistic traits in meaningful and harmless ways. I first found HG's blog in late 2019 while trying to wrap my head around the behaviour of who I thought was the great love of my life, a former affair partner who has been in and out of my life for 15 years by that time. I was sad and confused when I booked my first audio consultation with HG, followed by the narc detector, the empath detector, the trait detector, and a variety of other interesting and important materials that I accessed. Fast forward to 2020. In less than 6 months, the narcissist I thought who was going to be the king of my life forever, whose name I wanted to give to my firstborn, whose initials I planned to tattoo on my skin, became a distant and unpleasant memory. I escaped. I later did narc detectors on several other people in my life, including my mother and my then boss. They are both narcissists. HG guided me in minimizing the involvement with my mother to a bare minimum, not letting her get me down with her passive-aggressive ways any longer or manipulate me through my children. HG was also immensely helpful in navigating the professional disengagement from my boss. I was able successfully to buy him out from our company, which he was actively harming, and no doubt would have destroyed had he stayed. I consider that an escape, and I'm wealthier now as a collateral consequence, all thanks to HG's help. Unfortunately, 2 years ago I had a slip-up and got ensnared by a narcissist that I didn't recognise as such, because I never came across this school cadre combination before. Luckily, after executing a narc detector on that person and a couple of audio consultations, I worked hard on maintaining no contact after the escape, and in 6 months that narcissist too became a distant and unpleasant memory. A sorry episode, as HG put it. If I may, I would like to offer a bit of advice to fellow Tudorites. Read and listen to as much of HG's material as you can. There is tons of information he provides gratis. I understand that regular audio consultations and access to Knowledge Vault materials might not be affordable to everyone, but there is one inexpensive product I cannot recommend enough if you have been or currently are the intimate victim of the narcissist. HG's book, Sex and the Narcissist. It should be obligatory in high schools all over the world. So many lives would be unscathed and hearts unbroken. Spoiler alert, it's not about sex at all. If you've been abused by a narcissist, in order to escape you need to understand what happened to you and take it seriously. This viral infection will not blow over. You need to take your antiviral drugs to keep it in check, and that's where HG's involvement is invaluable. But he will not do the work for you. It must be a cooperation, as in any successful treatment that involves input from both doctor and patient. You need to want to escape, want to feel better, want to commit to no contact. You need to learn a lot and do a lot of work to achieve this. Don't think you're immune after you've escaped one particular narcissist. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and you need constant management to avoid further future ensnarement. Keep reading, listening, and learning from HG to keep yourself safe and sane. Come for treatment, stay for maintenance, entertainment, and knowledge. Understand that you cannot beat the narcissist, the monster, the abuser if you stay involved in any shape or form. It's a dangerous illusion. Listen to HG's video, The Narcissist Double Abuse, and realize that the heartless creature who hurt you has been abusing you from the very beginning, when you thought everything was golden. Misleading investors is a serious crime. I will never be able to put into words all the gratitude I feel towards HG for his most helpful work. Were he not a narcissistic psychopath, I'd like nothing more than to have this person in my circle of friends, catching up over a bottle of champagne and a shellfish platter from time to time. But he is a narcissistic psychopath, so I'd rather never learn his identity, yet have him around at a digital arm's length as my guardian devil. Thank you, Andrea, for sharing your experiences of my work. And now we'll hear from Adel, who is going to share his experiences of a romantic entanglement.
My story with the narcissist started 3 years ago in the midst of COVID. I was in Bali and actively looking for a partner, mainly on dating apps. I thought I was clear on what I was looking for in a partner. I was in the best time of my life. I was very good on my own. But still, I wanted to share those moments with someone. Then I matched that girl on Tinder. I could tell we connected immediately. We shared common interests, values, whatever I liked, she liked. I would understand much later that this was mirroring. I did my due diligence to understand whether she was independent. The last thing I wanted was to be used. She was really charming, from innocent sweet girl to femme fatale. I was really open to have a family. I was in my 40s, and I didn't really care if the child wasn't mine. The red flag started fast. She tested me, and I was very reactive. She bombarded me with attention, then slightly devaluing me to make me chase her. She found my weak spot in a blink of an eye. I was open, trying not to be controlling or possessive. I didn't want to be that jealous guy. From the beginning, she gave me lots of warning. I shouldn't hurt her feeling, that she can be Kali, this goddess of death. She actually didn't really have a job. Her ex-husband was financing her expatriation to Bali. I started to feel scammed, but I was already hooked. She always had a plausible excuse. She was playing the weak and innocent victim, and I was her savior. I knew it was wrong, but I wanted to give it a chance. I thought I could fix it. Then she triangulated me with the kid to move in after 3 weeks. I proposed she stays over until she finds something, but of course she was not looking. I pushed her to search. Nothing was good enough for her. I persisted, and then the problem started. Going fast forward, at every moment I pushed her away, something terrible happened. She got assaulted by a taxi driver. The stalker was chasing her. She disappeared for 16 hours in a stranger villa, leave me alone with her kid. I spent the whole day looking for her at every hospital. I knew something was off. I knew all of this didn't make sense. I broke up several times. Every time there was a plausible excuse, I would feel guilty thinking bad of her. I got into a deep depression. This kept going on for months. Devaluation, respite, breakup, Hoover, respite, devaluation, and so on and so forth. She was projecting on me. I was selfish. I was the monster. I was the one without empathy. I was persistent on trying to confront her on our toxic dynamic, but still, all of this was my fault. While I was doing everything for her and her child. Until I got COVID, I got sick enough that I couldn't give her attention. She tried to break the isolation. I wouldn't let her. She got so upset, she gave me silent treatment and provoked me consistently when I was at the peak of the disease. I had then a panic attack. I could not breathe. This is where I got scared. She had like these dark stares, emotionless and empathetic. I felt like I was nothing for her. A friend hinted me that this might be a psychopathic behavior. I started reading about it and I realized that her behavior was totally matching the narcissist. Then after that, she broke up, but immediately hovered me back as soon as she saw I was devastated. Was telling me I was her soulmate and so on and so forth. At this time, I knew she had to go. I somehow intuitively gave her the sense of control until the last moment. She thought she could make me change my mind, but I would leverage on her decision and find her a place so that she would not need me anymore. It was excruciating. I was in tears. I was not realizing that this was only the beginning of the battle. During my internet search, I found this Knowing the Narcissist website. There was video for every and each situation I went through. My emotional thinking was telling me I was the problem. I was responsible for all of this. But this side was giving me clarity. I was actually living the full horror moment. My self-esteem went to its lowest. I was the worst person on earth. After a few days, she was actually posting promiscuous pictures. Few weeks, she already found a new love of her life. I was overwhelmed, but still, this support I had from HG, I could understand everything. I could understand the triangulation. I could understand the fuel. I could understand the addiction. I could understand that I was in a war between my emotional thinking and logical thinking. It took me a month. I was listening over and over to HG. It convinced me. His bulletproof evidence and rationality was unchallengeable. My emotional thinking was strong. What if something happened to her? What about the kid? My mood was alternating from sad to depressed to angry, nostalgic. Sometimes I even thought I was the narcissist. It was really a tornado of emotion. But still, I was resisting. I managed to go to no contact after a month, listening on a daily basis to his video, reading the books, exorcism, manipulated, outnumbered, revenge, escape, fuel. so much knowledge. I understood as well that the problem was also me. Why did I stay so long with her? I then did the empath detector, the trait detector, the weaponized empath. It happened that I have a majority super empath with a codependent minority. Actually, this was my weak point when she created crisis for me to save her. I also have strong narcissistic traits, but also very strong empathic traits, which are stronger than the narcissist one. Thanks forever, HG. I didn't know who I was before I stumbled upon your work. You brought me clarity and now I'm weaponized. I still have the addiction. I was ensnared a couple of times after that, but I managed to step out and now I actually found a truly sweet person with whom there are no high, only genuine appreciation, care, and love. Thanks a lot.
There you have Adel's recollection of what happened, where, having come across my work, it brought him clarity, it brought him understanding, and he was able to deal with the war that was taking place between his logical thinking and his emotional thinking, even though it took him a month to make those initial steps to find the clarity that he needed. And it would appear that it's all now worked out for him. Having moved on from that relationship, he's in a relationship with a non-narcissist. If you've been inspired by what you've heard and you want to share what you achieved in terms of a successful escape, then you can send your video or audio file explaining who you are and where you come from and what your experience was to narcissist1909@gmail.com for consideration and inclusion in the series. Thank you for listening.